today we're going to make jalapeno jelly. We're back from our family reunion and a friend met me at the door with a whole box of jalapenos, and that just sounded like the best thing to do with them. And as you can see, we have everything lined up. The recipe calls for 10 jalapenos. It does not give you a size. Ours are very large, and we have cut them down the center, cut off the ends, and most of the white on the ends because that's where the heat is. And then I took a spoon and ran down the center of each one and removed the veins and the seeds. I left just whatever stuck to the jalapeno there. I'm making these for gifts, so I'm not going to leave very much heat. If you like more heat and you're making it just for your family, please feel free to do so. I am going to add one whole jalapeno without any cutting except of the stem into the mix to add just a little nice heat. And we're also going to add bell peppers, red, yellow, and green. Now we're adding a few less bell pepper than the recipe actually calls for. It calls for 2, 1 green and 1 red. However, I didn't have another red, and I had multiple greens, so that's what we're going to use. And we're using 2 less because our jalapenos are so large. Now we are multiplying this recipe 4 times in what we're making because we had so many jalapenos. Then we're also going to add some salt, sugar, and vinegar, and I'll give you those proportions in a few. In the meantime, we have also put on the canner, sterilized our jars and lids, and we're preparing our pan where we will add the sugar, salt, and vinegar and warm it up before we add our very finely processed jalapenos. And we're going to use the handy dandy food processor. I'm not sure what I'd do without a food processor in the kitchen. It just takes a lot of the work out of the whole process. And once they're finely chopped, then we're going to show you how we process that in the pan. Everything's in the pan: sugar, vinegar, and peppers. And notice I don't mix the red and yellow or the various colors of peppers. I chop those separately and then add them in. I think it makes a kind of a murky blend if I do it the other way around. Oops, sorry about that. I have my timer going off on the sterilization of the lids. But one of the things I meant to mention a while ago and did not was the pectin. I do use pectin. I use liquid pectin, and 1 packet should be just fine. This does, if you like a really firm jelly, use 2. But I like this to be more of a thick saucy type jelly. And so I'm just using 1. But since I'm multiplying this times 4, I am going to put in 4. We're going to boil away. We're on the way to the boiling stage, and we're getting a little foam on top, and that's okay. But I do have a caution, guys. It smells so good. But don't put your face over it and take a deep breath through your mouth or nose, because it will burn. And you can get 3rd-degree burns from these peppers. And they smell good enough to do that and take a big sniff, but don't. And also, you will see I am wearing gloves. I have worn gloves throughout this process because they can also burn your hands. If you're only doing 1 or 2 or 3, I don't wear gloves. But when you're doing 40 really large jalapenos, removing the seeds, the stems, etc., I really would recommend gloves back when it starts to boil. It's rolling away, boiling, boiling, boiling. We boiled for 10 minutes, and we did remove most of the foam that was on top. And once it's boiled for 10 minutes, we're going to add the pectin, boil for 1 minute into the jars. They're in the jars, and we have them in the canner so that we can give them their water bath. There it is. Make sure the lids are fully covered, and we're going to let them boil for about 10 minutes long, or 12 if you feel more comfortable with that. And then we're going to listen to the lids pop, and we're done. They're out of the water bath, cooling off, and I've already counted all of the lids have popped, so I'm feeling really good about that. Something I failed to mention earlier is a lot of people like a bright green jalapeno jelly and add green food coloring. That's not my preference, so I love it just like this, a la natural. But if you prefer green food coloring to give it a little brighter look, then feel free to do so. Just add a few drops at a time until you reach the color that you would like for it to be. Well, we're finished up. We're going to put it in the shelves and put it on the shelves and set it aside, and it's going to go into gift baskets for the seasons.